Thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate sitting in on the committee today. The issue in Northern California has been pretty tough last couple of years, starting with the Oroville Dam, the state water project spillway, and FEMA and the administration responded very quickly on that. And as well, then we had in 2018 the car fire in West Reading, 230,000 acres burned, 1,600 buildings lost, eight deaths after the car fire. And then finally, capped last November, we're coming up on the anniversary of the Camp Fire in Paradise, California. 150,000 acres burned, 18,000 buildings destroyed, and 86 lives lost, all told in that. Humongous tragedy. Of course, a big part of my job in my office and my team at home has been working really hard on this, is helping the town of Paradise and surrounding areas, Magalia, Concow, Yankee Hill, others to recover on that, as well as finishing up on the car fire where people are recovering there. Town of Paradise, for example, people have been very patient and very resilient on this issue. Even the Paradise High football team has outscored their opponents 362-40 and is undefeated right now. So, you know, everybody's really hanging in there strong with resilience. And FEMA, I commend you, Administrator Byard, on, again, the immediacy of getting resources and the support on the Camp Fire for removing the toxic material on each footprint where a home or a building is burned down, and seeing the need on that watershed to just get that out and get it moved to approved waste areas. And so tens of thousands of truck trips later, it's pretty much complete up there, and a lot of building permits, home permits are being let, and recovery's happening. So great work on that, working with Cal OES, Office of Emergency Services, and local governments on that. So there's always people that are going to, there's always an impatience with resources don't get there as fast as people want, and untangling issues and red tape. And so let's talk just real quick about the concept of temporary housing for folks who've been displaced. And again, we're thankful for all this. But there was some issues in setting up temporary housing sites for people to dwell. They were scattered, you know, all over. Many in the town of Chico, maybe half of the 27,000 displaced, which has caused Chico issues and crowding and traffic. But temporary housing versus looking at how do we narrow that timeline? 6 months to identify a site, 10 months to start moving people in, you know. And I know it's a circumstance, but how can we narrow that? And is there efficiency maybe with funding permanent homes instead of the temporary homes? Is there a way we can hopscotch that and find opportunities to put our focus towards permanent buildings? Can you touch on that, please?
Yes, sir. So, you know, housing is a difficult mission, even in the best of times. For the example of Paradise, or normally we in a lot of cases, we're able to put a temporary housing unit or manufactured housing unit on an individual's lot. As you well know, due to the toxic environment that the debris caused, we cannot do that in Paradise. So we actually had to find group sites, which it then relies on local governments as far as where can we put those. You know, the federal government, at FEMA, you know, we do a good job of reimbursement, but the land has to be granted or given or permitted for us to do that. Then we have to come in and basically build a neighborhood from sewer, power, and so forth in certain areas. We try to find where we can, like a campsite that's already built like that, something like that. A lot of times that works. Matter of fact,
my time's going to be short on this, I'm sorry. So I mean, just kind of getting to the crux here. How can we narrow that timeline? I know it's been tough to identify some of these areas, and we had to do a lot of things with campgrounds and parks and others, but what can we focus on to narrow that timeline?
I would look at, again, how do our state and local partners, you know, can they identify land that could be used for a group site in the event they need that we can come in a lot more efficient fashion and do that.
Okay. Hey, now we've got another issue too. I'm sorry, again, the time is. Orphan roads, they call them, they're basically kind of like public roads, kind of like private, mostly seen as private, but they're used by everybody, emergency services, utilities, others, and there's folks really concerned up there that removal of debris along these roads. We still have 1 million trees up there. They got to be removed. And I know FEMA is looking at trees being part of the problem up there of not only along roadways, but a little farther inland. And so we need more attention on that. And I know you're working in that direction, but we have to remember that these dead trees out there are going to continue to be a problem. That kind of gets back to forestry management in general, where somebody was talking about pre-disaster planning. The forestry in the West is a disaster, pre-disaster, a lot of it. So I'd appreciate, keep paying attention on how we can remove these trees that are already burned and dead and in place, and should be seen as part of the cleanup. So, and then I'll just leave a quick note. You did a great job on clearing land in the Whiskeytown area on the car fire on a private clearing, but also there was parkland nearby where you didn't have the jurisdiction to clean up a toxic building that had burned down on parkland, so national parkland. So we got to be able to look at what would be sensible when you're there to do work, that can you also do it on the national parkland? And is there a regulation, let me ask you on that, is there a
Mr.
regulation we
LaMalfa.
could change? Please get back to my office. Thank you, madam. I'm sorry, I yield back.